Imagine a land so vast, so empty, yet filled with secrets that could change the world. A place where the wind whispers stories of innovation, power, and mystery. Today, I want to take you there, not with maps, but with imagination, curiosity, and courage. Are you ready to see what most people overlook? Because what China hides in its deserts is not just sand. It's the future waiting to be discovered. When we talk about deserts, most people think of lifeless lands, endless stretches of sand, and harsh conditions. But if we look deeper, these deserts are not empty. They are alive with possibilities. China's deserts, often ignored, hide remarkable truths about its energy, technology, and ambition. Some may say, I'm dreaming, but history belongs to dreamers who dare to look where others don't. And what I'm going to share with you today will make you question everything you thought you knew about one of the most powerful countries in the world. So stay with me, because by the end of this journey, you may never look at deserts or China the same way again. In the heart of China's deserts, what at first glance appears to be nothing more than endless sand and harsh winds is actually a canvas for some of the most ambitious experiments in human innovation. When we speak about deserts, people often imagine a place where life struggles to exist, where resources are scarce, and where survival itself is a constant challenge. But if we look closer, deserts are the perfect environment for testing new ideas, precisely because they remove distractions and force clarity of vision. China has recognized this potential and is quietly turning its deserts into living laboratories where technology, agriculture, and renewable energy are being tested at a scale rarely seen elsewhere. The vastness of these lands allows for projects that would be impossible in more populated areas, giving engineers and scientists the freedom to experiment, fail, and improve in ways that are essential for true innovation. In this sense, the desert becomes a place where imagination meets practicality, and where bold ideas can be tried without the limitations imposed by cities or traditional infrastructures. One of the most remarkable uses of these deserts is in the field of renewable energy. Solar power farms stretching for hundreds of square kilometers rise like a grid of mirrors, capturing the sun's energy with astonishing efficiency. These installations are not mere experiments. They are operational powerhouses designed to meet the energy demands of millions of people. By taking advantage of the relentless sunlight and minimal human interference, these desert solar farms allow China to push the boundaries of energy generation, storage, and distribution. The lessons learned here are not confined to the desert alone. They influence energy policy, industrial planning, and technological innovation across the country. Engineers in these remote areas are experimenting with ways to reduce energy loss, improve panel efficiency, and integrate artificial intelligence into energy management systems. Every day, the desert becomes a proving ground where incremental improvements in technology have the potential to reshape how nations think about energy independence and sustainability. But energy is only the beginning. China is also exploring innovative agricultural techniques in these seemingly inhospitable landscapes. Desert agriculture might sound like a contradiction, but it is exactly in these extreme conditions that the most advanced research is being conducted. Scientists are developing methods to grow crops with minimal water, using techniques such as hydroponics, drip irrigation, and even artificial rainfall simulation. The desert, with its unpredictable weather and nutrient-poor soil, provides the perfect stress test for crops that must survive in an increasingly unstable climate worldwide. Every seed planted and every technique tested here contributes to a larger understanding of resilience, adaptability, and long-term food security. These experiments are designed not only to feed local populations, but also to generate knowledge that can be applied globally, turning deserts from symbols of scarcity into symbols of abundance and possibility. Furthermore, the desert allows for a unique convergence of multiple technological disciplines. Robotics, autonomous vehicles, and drones are all tested here under conditions that mimic the extremes of nature. The harsh winds, temperature fluctuations, and shifting sands create an environment where machines must perform reliably under stress. Engineers use these challenges to improve design, durability, and operational intelligence, ensuring that technologies developed in the desert can withstand real-world demands elsewhere. The ability to test at scale in remote and controlled conditions accelerates innovation in ways that urban laboratories cannot replicate. By integrating renewable energy, agriculture, and advanced machinery into a cohesive research ecosystem, China's desert initiatives demonstrate a holistic approach to problem solving, where each experiment informs and enhances the others. The psychological and philosophical dimension of working in the desert should not be underestimated. Engineers, scientists, and visionaries working in these remote areas often speak of the clarity and focus that the desert imposes. Stripped of noise, distraction, and the immediacy of urban life, they are able to see problems and opportunities with greater perspective. In this way, the desert is not just a laboratory for technology, it is a laboratory for thought, creativity, and long-term strategic vision. The isolation forces deep thinking, encourages risk-taking, and fosters an understanding of patience and persistence. These qualities are just as critical to innovation as the technology itself. Ultimately, what China is doing in its deserts is a demonstration of how environments that appear barren and hostile can be transformed into engines of creativity and progress. Every solar panel, every experimental crop, every autonomous machine represents a calculated step towards solving the challenges of the future. The desert becomes a metaphor for opportunity hidden within adversity, showing that where others see limitations, visionaries see the chance to pioneer. It is this mindset, seeing potential where others see emptiness, that turns the deserts of China into more than just physical spaces. They become incubators for ideas that could shape not only the nation, but the world at large. Beneath the seemingly endless sands of China's deserts lies a hidden wealth that is as strategically vital as it is mysterious. While the surface may appear barren and unremarkable, the desert conceals a treasure trove of minerals, rare earth elements, and other natural resources that are the backbone of modern technology. These resources are essential for the production of smartphones, electric vehicles, renewable energy technologies, and even advanced defense systems. What makes the desert so significant is not just the quantity of resources, but their quality and accessibility, which give China a critical advantage in global supply chains. The world often focuses on urban centers and industrial hubs, yet it is in these remote deserts that some of the most valuable assets for the future of industry and innovation are being quietly secured. These materials are not merely commodities. They are strategic instruments that influence global economic balance, technological development, and even geopolitical power dynamics. Rare earth elements, for instance, are a group of metals that are incredibly difficult to find and extract, yet they are indispensable for modern electronics, military technology, and clean energy solutions. China has invested heavily in exploring and extracting these elements from desert regions, understanding that control over these materials translates into control over critical aspects of global technological advancement. The process of locating, mining, and refining these minerals is complex and requires both advanced technology and meticulous planning. The deserts provide a natural laboratory where extraction methods can be tested at scale, allowing scientists and engineers to innovate ways to maximize yield while minimizing environmental impact. What may look like empty sand is actually a carefully monitored network of operations where science, technology, and strategy intersect. The significance of these hidden resources extends beyond economics. It affects how nations compete for technological supremacy and the ability to shape future industries. In addition to rare earth elements, China's deserts are rich in other minerals and raw materials that are critical to the country's long-term development goals. Lithium, for example, used in batteries for electric vehicles and renewable energy storage, is found in significant quantities beneath arid lands. With global demand for clean energy solutions skyrocketing, the ability to secure lithium and other essential minerals positions China not just as a producer, but as a potential global leader in the technologies of the future. Similarly, other elements such as magnesium, boron, and uranium are being explored and developed in desert regions, each contributing to energy security, technological progress, and strategic independence. These resources are not just about immediate profit. They are part of a carefully orchestrated plan to ensure that China remains at the forefront of global innovation and economic resilience. The scale and secrecy of these operations are critical to their success. The deserts provide a level of isolation that allows for large-scale extraction without public interference or industrial congestion. Remote monitoring, advanced automation, and specialized engineering equipment are deployed to navigate the harsh conditions of these landscapes. This enables efficient exploration and exploitation of resources that would be nearly impossible in densely populated or environmentally sensitive areas. The logistical challenges of desert mining, extreme temperatures, shifting sands, and limited water are not obstacles but opportunities to innovate. Engineers and geologists develop new techniques and technologies to operate sustainably, demonstrating a long-term commitment to both resource management and technological advancement. This approach allows China to maintain a strategic advantage while also preparing for the future demands of a resource-hungry world. Moreover, these hidden reserves in the desert are tightly linked to national security and global influence. By controlling essential minerals and rare earth elements, China can influence global supply chains and reduce dependence on external sources. This gives the country leverage in negotiations, trade policies, and international technological collaborations. Countries without access to these critical materials may find themselves at a disadvantage, highlighting the geopolitical weight of what lies beneath the sand. The desert, in this sense, is not just a natural landscape, but a strategic asset, silently shaping the power dynamics of the 21st century. Every discovery, every mine, and every refined resource contributes to a broader narrative of foresight, planning, and calculated patience. Equally important is the philosophy underlying these efforts. The desert teaches patience, long-term thinking, and the value of hidden potential. Unlike resources that are visible, immediate, and easy to exploit, what lies beneath the desert requires vision, planning, and the willingness to invest in the long game. It is a lesson in strategic thinking. Sometimes the most valuable opportunities are the ones that are overlooked, underestimated, or hidden from plain sight. By focusing on these hidden treasures, China demonstrates a mastery of foresight, understanding that control over critical resources today shapes not only economic growth, but technological leadership and global influence for decades to come. The combination of strategic minerals, advanced technology, and forward-thinking planning makes China's desert resources far more than simple raw materials. They represent the intersection of opportunity, innovation, and geopolitical strategy. Every ton of rare earth elements extracted, every lithium deposit secured, and every mineral refined contributes to a broader vision of power and resilience. In this sense, the desert is not just a geographic feature. It is a silent yet formidable foundation upon which China is building its technological and economic future. It is a reminder that beneath apparent emptiness, there can be profound potential waiting for those with the insight, patience, and courage to uncover it. China's deserts are not only repositories of natural resources, but also vast, isolated spaces where military and technological innovation can occur away from the prying eyes of the world. These remote lands provide a level of secrecy and security that is nearly impossible to achieve in urban centers or coastal regions. In these expanses, China has the freedom to develop, test, and refine technologies critical to national security without immediate scrutiny or interference. Military testing grounds in the desert allow for trials of advanced missile systems, defense technologies, and unmanned aerial vehicles in conditions that are both controlled and extreme. The harsh climate of the deserts, with its unpredictable winds, temperature fluctuations, and shifting sands, creates a natural testing environment that pushes equipment and personnel to their limits. Every experiment, every simulation, and every trial conducted in these conditions ensures that technologies are not only functional but resilient, capable of performing under the most challenging circumstances. In this way, the deserts serve as both a shield and a laboratory, enabling innovation while preserving operational secrecy. Technological advancement in these remote areas is not limited to military applications. China is integrating cutting-edge research in artificial intelligence, robotics, and autonomous systems within desert testing zones. Autonomous vehicles and drones are being tested for navigation in extreme environments, providing insights that have applications far beyond defense. These experiments allow engineers to refine navigation algorithms, improve sensor accuracy, and enhance machine learning capabilities in a setting that simulates real-world challenges. By operating in the desert, engineers can iterate rapidly, encountering problems and solving them in ways that would be impossible in more controlled or predictable environments. The isolation of the desert ensures that these technological breakthroughs are protected until they are ready for broader deployment, giving China a strategic advantage in innovation that few other nations can match. Furthermore, the deserts serve as grounds for experimental communication and surveillance technologies. The remoteness and vast scale of these regions allow for the deployment of advanced satellite communications, radar systems, and long-range sensing equipment without interference from urban networks. By testing these technologies in isolation, engineers can push systems to their operational limits, ensuring reliability in critical situations. This aspect of desert utilization highlights a broader strategic philosophy, the understanding that innovation requires both space and security. By providing both, the deserts become incubators for technologies that will enhance China's ability to monitor, defend, and interact with the world on its own terms. These developments are not just about immediate advantage, they are about creating layers of capability that will endure and evolve over time. The psychological and strategic lessons embedded in desert testing are equally important. Operating in a harsh, isolated environment requires discipline, focus, and resilience, qualities that are critical in both military and technological contexts. Personnel engaged in these operations develop a mindset of long-term thinking, attention to detail, and problem-solving under pressure. The desert becomes a teacher of patience and precision, where small miscalculations can have large consequences and where preparation and adaptability determine success. This philosophy extends beyond the individual. It informs the way organizations approach innovation, emphasizing careful planning, iterative development, and the value of controlled experimentation. By using the desert as a stage for both physical and intellectual testing, China is cultivating not just technologies, but a culture of strategic foresight. The scale of desert-based testing allows for experimentation at levels impossible elsewhere. Large-scale exercises, multiple simultaneous trials, and expansive simulations can be conducted without the constraints of population density or environmental regulations that would limit activity in other regions. This flexibility enables China to explore ambitious concepts in military strategy, defense systems, and technology deployment that require extensive space and controlled conditions. The lessons learned from these exercises ripple beyond the desert, informing national security planning, industrial development, and technological integration across the country. Every trial in the desert, whether successful or not, generates data, insights, and improvements that build cumulative knowledge, reinforcing China's strategic position. In addition to practical testing, the deserts are also spaces for conceptual and experimental thinking. engineers, strategists, and scientists are able to approach problems in unconventional ways, using the unique conditions of the desert to imagine solutions that would not be apparent in conventional settings. The combination of isolation, scale, and environmental extremes encourages creativity and bold thinking, leading to innovations that extend far beyond the physical boundaries of the desert. From advanced propulsion systems to cutting-edge surveillance technology, the desert acts as a proving ground for ideas that will ultimately influence both national and global technological trajectories. The strategic significance of China's desert-based operations underscores a key principle: innovation and security are most effective when developed in tandem, under conditions that challenge assumptions and test resilience. By using the desert as a protected space for military and technological experimentation, China is creating capabilities that are robust, adaptable, and ahead of global competitors. The hidden nature of these operations, combined with the harsh and unforgiving environment, ensures that only the most prepared and innovative solutions succeed. In this sense, the deserts are more than just physical spaces. They are strategic foundations, silently shaping the technological and military potential of the nation and positioning China to influence the global balance of power for decades to come. China's deserts are more than empty expanses of sand. They are arenas for some of the most ambitious environmental and climate experiments in the world. Faced with the dual challenges of desertification and the urgent need for sustainable development, China has turned these harsh landscapes into laboratories for ecological innovation. Rather than accepting the desert as a symbol of scarcity, Chinese scientists and engineers are reimagining it as a canvas for experimentation with climate control, soil restoration, and ecosystem management. Techniques such as artificial rainfall simulation, windbreak construction, and innovative irrigation systems are being tested at scales that would be unimaginable elsewhere. These projects aim not only to combat the spread of deserts and mitigate dust storms, but also to explore the potential for turning uninhabitable land into productive ecosystems. By working in extreme conditions, researchers can push the limits of what is possible, learning lessons that have global implications for agriculture, water management, and climate resilience. One of the most striking aspects of China's desert experiments is the development of advanced irrigation and water conservation methods. Traditional agriculture relies heavily on abundant water, but in deserts, water scarcity is the most pressing challenge. To overcome this, China has invested in technologies that maximize efficiency, such as drip irrigation systems that deliver precise amounts of water directly to plant roots, minimizing evaporation and waste. Additionally, engineers are experimenting with techniques to capture and store rainwater, creating reservoirs and underground channels that provide a consistent water supply even in arid conditions. These innovations allow crops to survive in environments that would otherwise be inhospitable, and they also offer insights into sustainable agricultural practices that can be applied in other parts of the world facing water shortages. The ability to cultivate land in deserts demonstrates that scarcity does not have to be a barrier to growth, but can instead inspire creativity and resilience. Artificial weather modification is another frontier of desert experimentation in China. Scientists are exploring ways to induce rainfall, reduce the frequency of sandstorms, and even influence local climate conditions through cloud seeding and other technologies. These efforts are not only aimed at improving agricultural output, but also at protecting nearby populated areas from the destructive effects of desertification. By experimenting in remote deserts, researchers can test these methods at a scale and intensity that would be impossible in more densely inhabited regions. Every experiment, whether successful or not, provides valuable data that helps refine techniques, making future efforts more precise and effective. Over time, these projects could transform how humanity interacts with extreme environments, offering tools to adapt to climate change and protect ecosystems that are currently at risk. China's desert greening initiatives also extend to the restoration of native vegetation and soil health. Deserts often suffer from soil erosion, nutrient depletion, and the loss of biodiversity. In response, environmental scientists are introducing hardy plant species that can survive extreme temperatures while stabilizing the soil and reducing erosion. These plants act as natural windbreaks, slowing the movement of sand and creating microclimates that support further growth. In parallel, research into soil enhancement techniques, including the use of organic matter and bioengineered solutions, is helping to restore fertility and promote sustainable ecosystems. These efforts are gradually transforming sections of desert into productive land, demonstrating that even the harshest environments can be rehabilitated with careful planning, innovation, and persistence. The integration of technology with environmental science is a hallmark of China's desert projects. Drones, remote sensors, and satellite imaging are used to monitor vegetation growth, track soil moisture, and predict the movement of sand dunes. Artificial intelligence analyzes this data to optimize irrigation schedules, recommend planting strategies, and anticipate environmental changes. By combining advanced technology with ecological knowledge, China is creating a feedback-driven approach to desert management, where every intervention is guided by precise, real-time information. This approach not only increases efficiency, but also allows for experimentation at unprecedented scales, turning deserts into dynamic spaces for learning, adaptation, and innovation. Beyond the technical achievements, there is a broader philosophical lesson embedded in these desert projects. Working in extreme environments cultivates patience, long-term thinking, and resilience. Researchers and engineers must contend with unpredictable conditions, setbacks, and slow results, teaching them that progress often requires persistence and adaptation. The desert, in this sense, is not only a testing ground for environmental technology, but also a teacher of strategy, planning, and vision. These qualities extend beyond the laboratory, influencing policy decisions, national development strategies, and the way China approaches sustainability on a global scale. Ultimately, China's efforts to control and transform its deserts demonstrate a profound understanding of the interplay between environment, technology, and human ingenuity. By turning barren landscapes into sites of experimentation, the country is generating knowledge and solutions that have implications far beyond its borders. From water conservation and climate control to ecosystem restoration and sustainable agriculture, the deserts are incubators for ideas that could redefine how humanity approaches the challenges of a changing climate. In these experiments, what appears lifeless becomes a proving ground for resilience, creativity, and the possibilities of the future. The philosophy behind China's approach to its deserts is as important as the tangible innovations occurring within them. What may appear to outsiders as secrecy or even inaccessibility is, in fact, a deliberate strategy rooted in patience, long-term thinking, and disciplined planning. China recognizes that power, whether technological, economic, or geopolitical, is rarely built overnight. It requires vision, careful preparation, and the ability to act decisively when the time is right. The deserts, with their isolation and vastness, provide the perfect environment to cultivate these qualities. By quietly developing resources, testing technologies, and experimenting with ecological restoration away from public scrutiny, China ensures that its strategies are protected until they can deliver maximum impact. This approach reflects a broader philosophy. True strength is often invisible, built in silence, and revealed only when it is fully ready. Central to this philosophy is the idea that long-term vision must guide every decision. Unlike urban centers or highly visible projects, desert initiatives are not designed for immediate recognition or applause. Their benefits often take years, sometimes decades, to materialize. By focusing on outcomes rather than short-term visibility, China demonstrates a form of strategic patience that many other nations struggle to practice. Every solar farm, experimental crop, or rare mineral extraction project is carefully planned to accumulate knowledge and capability over time. The desert becomes a testing ground not just for technology, but for strategic foresight itself, teaching the value of persistence, iteration, and delayed gratification. This mindset contrasts sharply with the global tendency toward rapid results, reminding us that the most powerful transformations often occur out of sight, in places where patience is a necessity and foresight is a skill. Secrecy and discretion are also key elements of this philosophy. By keeping desert projects largely hidden from public view, China reduces external pressures, competition, and potential interference. This allows engineers, scientists, and strategists to experiment freely, make mistakes, and refine their approaches without the fear of scrutiny or failure in the public eye. In essence, the desert acts as a protective incubator for innovation, where ideas can mature organically and evolve into solutions capable of global significance. This emphasis on quiet preparation highlights an understanding that strength and capability are often most effective when developed in private, emerging fully only when they are strategically advantageous. Another critical aspect of the desert philosophy is the cultivation of resilience. Working in extreme, unpredictable environments teaches adaptability and problem-solving under pressure. Desert researchers and engineers learn to anticipate challenges, prepare for contingencies, and adjust strategies as conditions change. These lessons are not merely technical, they are deeply cultural and psychological, shaping a mindset that values preparation, foresight, and flexibility. The ability to remain focused and effective in harsh conditions mirrors the broader strategic approach China employs on national and international stages. Build capabilities quietly, adapt to challenges, and act decisively when opportunities arise. In this way, the desert is both a physical and philosophical training ground, reinforcing the principles that guide innovation, governance, and long-term planning. The desert's isolation also encourages integrated thinking. Engineers, ecologists, and strategists working in these remote areas must consider multiple variables simultaneously: energy, water, soil, technology, and sustainability. Solutions cannot be isolated or fragmented. They must account for the interconnectedness of systems in extreme environments. This holistic approach reflects a philosophy that strength comes not from singular achievements, but from coordinated, multi-layered planning. By testing technologies and strategies in such complex conditions, China builds not only technical expertise, but also a mindset that appreciates the value of systems thinking, adaptability, and long-term coherence. Every success in the desert is a product of careful integration, patience, and disciplined strategy, reinforcing the idea that true power is cultivated, not improvised. This philosophy extends beyond the deserts themselves and into broader national strategy. By demonstrating patience, strategic discretion, and long-term planning in these remote areas, China signals its approach to global competition. It is willing to invest in the unseen, prepare for the long game, and act when conditions are most favorable. The lessons learned in deserts about patience, secrecy, resilience, and integrated thinking inform policy, economic development, and technological leadership on a national scale. What happens in these remote landscapes is a microcosm of China's broader strategic philosophy, the cultivation of invisible yet potent capabilities that shape the future without immediate fanfare. Ultimately, China's desert philosophy is a testament to the power of vision, patience, and preparation. It underscores the principle that true strength often develops in silence, nurtured through careful planning and tested under extreme conditions. By embracing this approach, China demonstrates a level of strategic sophistication that is both deliberate and disciplined. The deserts are not only laboratories for technology, resources, and ecological innovation, they are embodiments of a mindset that values foresight, resilience, and the quiet cultivation of capability. In this context, every project, experiment, and initiative in the desert becomes part of a broader narrative about the importance of thinking ahead, acting wisely, and recognizing that what is hidden today may define the world tomorrow. The global impact of what China is doing in its deserts cannot be overstated. While the initiatives may appear localized or remote, the consequences ripple far beyond national borders, influencing energy markets, technological development, environmental strategy, and geopolitical power dynamics. The innovations and resources cultivated in these arid landscapes are not confined to their immediate surroundings. They have the potential to reshape industries and economies worldwide. From renewable energy breakthroughs to rare earth element production, the deserts serve as strategic incubators whose outcomes affect global supply chains, technology adoption, and even international relations. By carefully managing these resources and projects, China positions itself not merely as a participant in global progress, but as a potential leader shaping the pace and direction of development across multiple sectors. In the energy sector, the vast solar farms and experimental power technologies being tested in deserts have implications for global energy independence. By refining large-scale solar and wind energy solutions in remote, sun-drenched regions, China is developing technologies that could reduce global reliance on fossil fuels. These advancements are not incremental. They represent scalable solutions capable of transforming how nations generate and manage electricity. Countries facing energy scarcity or climate challenges can potentially adopt these innovations, making China a key player in global energy transition efforts. The ability to test and optimize these technologies in extreme conditions ensures that when they are deployed elsewhere, they are efficient, resilient, and reliable, qualities that give China an edge in exporting both technology and expertise. Rare earth elements and other critical minerals extracted from the deserts have similarly profound global consequences. These resources are essential for electronics, electric vehicles, renewable energy storage, and defense technologies. By controlling significant portions of these critical materials, China influences global production capabilities, supply stability, and pricing structures. Nations that rely on these materials for their technological infrastructure are directly affected by China's ability to secure and manage these desert resources. This control allows China to exert strategic influence in international markets, negotiations, and technological collaborations. The desert becomes more than a physical space. It becomes a lever of global power, where what is hidden beneath the sand has the potential to shape worldwide industries and policies. The environmental experiments conducted in China's deserts also hold lessons with global relevance. Desert greening, soil restoration, water management, and climate control initiatives are all designed to transform inhospitable land into productive ecosystems. If successful, these approaches could be adapted to other arid regions worldwide, helping to combat desertification, enhance agricultural output, and improve sustainability practices. By demonstrating what is possible under extreme conditions, China sets an example for innovative environmental management, providing models that other nations can learn from and implement. The desert, in this sense, serves as a global testing ground for solutions to climate change and ecological degradation, with potential benefits reaching far beyond China's borders. Technological developments in autonomous systems, robotics, and artificial intelligence tested in these deserts also carry international implications. Drones, autonomous vehicles, and AI-driven environmental monitoring systems developed in isolated desert regions are not limited to domestic application. They can influence global standards, practices, and capabilities. By perfecting these technologies in extreme conditions, China ensures that its innovations are not only advanced but robust and adaptable to a variety of global environments. This creates an opportunity for China to export both the technologies and the knowledge required to implement them effectively. potentially shaping the trajectory of technological development in multiple countries. The strategic foresight evident in these desert initiatives also signals to the world the importance of long-term thinking in global competition. By investing in hidden, isolated, and challenging environments, China demonstrates that the most impactful innovations often require patience, discipline, and careful planning. Nations observing these developments are reminded that leadership in technology, resources, and sustainability is rarely accidental. It emerges from consistent, focused effort in both visible and unseen arenas. The desert thus becomes a symbol of strategic advantage, illustrating that careful cultivation of capability in the right place at the right time can yield results that extend far beyond the immediate geography. Ultimately, the desert's global impact is a convergence of resources, technology, environmental management, and strategic foresight. Every solar panel installed, every mineral extracted, every ecological experiment conducted, and every autonomous system tested contributes to a broader narrative about the influence of these remote landscapes on the world stage. China's deserts are not isolated or inconsequential. They are active centers of innovation, preparation, and capability building that resonate globally. The lessons learned, the technologies perfected, and the resources secured here will influence economies, industries, and geopolitical balances for decades to come, demonstrating that what appears remote and hidden today can define the future of the world tomorrow.